Hi, I'm Steve Jenkins, Olive Oil Jones.
And I'm Jonah Miller. I'm the chef and owner of Huertas restaurant in the East Village.
Thanks for being with us today. Can you tell us a little bit about what we are doing here, what we're going to taste, and what we're going to see in action? Steve, what have you brought with you for Chef Jonah?
I've brought one of my 7 olive oils. This one comes from southern Navarra in Spain, right hard by Aragon. And it is from one estate, one grove, which is important because when you're blending oil from groves for God knows how many miles apart, it's just not the way I want it. I want it to come from a specific grove that people work every year. And the reason I selected this oil is that it just knocks me out. It's just huge. And to say elegant is silly, because what does that mean? It's just filled with nuance and layers of flavor and is exuberant. And by that I mean it exudes this floral effect and a fruity effect and a gunpowder effect. And that renders it elegant, complex, special, as opposed to being sort of one-dimensional. While still good oil, is just not as dramatic as this stuff. And it's called Queiles, and there's a Hacienda Queiles where the groves are, and there's a river Queiles, and there's a village Queiles. So there you have it. And
what type of olives are they?
Pardon?
And what type of olive is it inside the?
It's the Aronís, which is indigenous and rare as it can be, to the degree that the Hacienda Queiles blends most of their oil with arbequina, which is an omnipresent olive. There's groves all over Spain that are arbequina, even though arbequina is definitively Catalan. There's a little town called Arbeca that I've been to, and it draws the name arbequina for the olive. And now arbequina is being planted all over the place, everywhere. In Texas, Hawaii, they plant. In California, they plant arbequina every place, but nobody grows Aronís.
We use arbequina as our finishing oil at Huertas, but it's from southern Spain, from Jaén, where a lot of olive oil
Yeah, this
comes
is
from.
very near Jaén.
And we use sometimes picual and sometimes
Sure,
cook with
picual is
cabra,
the-
but I've never seen Aronís, so I'm looking forward to trying it for the first time today.
Yeah, that's what I'm so proud of, is that it's a rare olive and it's 100%, and that we call a monocultivar. Tuscans always blend. Like Chianti is like 7 or 8 different grapes. The Tuscans always blend 4 or 5 different olives in Tuscan oil, which is the snob oil.
And this just landed weeks ago in the U.S.?
This was landed 2 weeks ago. I'm 6 months late because of chaos in Europe.
And
The ports are shut down. There's trucker strikes. There's no stevedores. It took 6 months to get it here.
And there's one giant barrel.
One great huge container for this oil of about 500-600 liters.
Should we try the oil before we
Sure.
dive into the pork?
Sure.
So here it is. How do these look, Steve?
Looks great. And what you do is the following.
It's early for a big shot like that.
Never too early. It's 5 o'clock someplace. Now, first of all, put your hand over it and you swirl it, for a half a minute. And your hand warms it. And the hand on top keeps the fragrance inside until you're ready to go. And you either do or don't respond.
Well, definitely fruity, green, but not in a.
Get any gunpowder?
Well, I don't know that I know what gunpowder smells like, Steve.
Oh, I love the way it tastes. Smells like when I was a kid and I had cap guns every day, all day.
Where did you grow
God,
up?
I love that too. Columbia, Missouri. I love the way gunpowder smells.
In Upper West Side of Manhattan, fewer cap guns in the 90s.
And then you're ready to taste.
Okay, here we
And
go.
the way you do that, you suck in, like you're tasting wine. get the oil to the back of your palate, and you're gonna involuntarily cough. And people that are kind of new to olive oil or new to tasting olive oil get embarrassed when they do that. And I go, no, no, no. If you don't cough, the oil you should reject, because it obviously
I feel a lot of pressure to cough right
it
now.
has no polyphenols in it.
I definitely feel it in the back of my throat, but it's not overwhelming. It's like some peppery oils. It's definitely got peppery notes, but it's not in the way that I would worry about it, destroying the flavor of a dish.
Quite the contrary. It'll boost the flavor of any dish because of that bitterness. Like Campari or chocolate or tobacco, when you're grown up, you're not a kid anymore, those things that are bitter are very appealing, or at least they are to many of us, and certainly me. And it's that incipient bitterness, it's not strong, it's just there, is what makes early harvest olive oil from Olive Oil Jones so special.
I can't help but think a step ahead to how it's going to pair with the pork, and I think we'll like it.
I think so too.
And I could certainly, you could see it with any sort of raw seafood, but also, any simply prepared something off the grill with a smoky, that light char of the grill. The bitterness can kind of piggyback off of that.
Oh yeah. It's so good, and you become so inured to it that you want it on the table as a condiment, just like you put salt and pepper on the table. There should always be a great little source of olive oil on the table to dress things, whether cooked or not cooked.
And that definitely would feel very much like being in Spain, where everything is olive oil.
Yeah, but it's usually not very good oil.
Yeah.
And the thought of pouring not very good oil on a cut like that just keeps me awake at night, that people do that. And I tell you again, 95% of everybody in the world knows nothing but sweet oil, late harvest oil from dark olives. And that's not olive oil.
Are people harvesting late because they want sweeter, or they want better yield?
They harvest late because you get 3 times the volume out of the olive and you make money. You've got to understand that people that make balsamic vinegar and people that produce olive oil are the biggest crooks in the world, and they know they are. They just don't talk about it with each other. But if you're going to get an olive that's going to give you 3 times as much volume, it's kind of hard to choose to harvest green olives. You're going to have to charge so much for it that it's going to be hard for you to sell. But that's the best thing you could possibly do to an olive, is pick it green and press it, centrifuge it, separate the water from it, and turn it into olive oil.
When you hear, I guess more in Italy than Spain, but the notion of a green oil, oil verde, is this similar? That's also always early harvest, or is that unrelated?
Once again, green doesn't have any bearing on the flavor or the quality or the origin of the olive oil. None whatsoever. It's just pretty.
Yeah.
And that's why it's filtered. Most, like I say, 95% of the oil in the world is filtered for a cosmetic reason, to make it clear. The lady in the kitchen or the man in the kitchen likes a clear olive oil, and they shouldn't. They should like a cloudy oil. This is not cloudy because it came from the top of the barrel. As my barrels have to decant, which means sit for a month after it's turned into oil, so that the particulate matter will settle somewhat.
So, there's no
when I took that from the
bottom.
top, it was...
You're literally sort of scooping it with some kind of ladle? How do you extract it from this giant...
I have stainless steel pumps that I screw into the barrel.
So when someone orders this, you're actually taking it fresh from the barrel and putting it in the
Yeah, I don't...
Would you ever cook with this, or is it sort of a waste to...
No, absolutely cook with it. People that say, don't cook with extra virgin oil, which is also a nonsense phrase, doesn't mean anything, are wrong. The better the oil, the better the dish is going to taste. You're going to use your cheap oil in the pantry for cooking, you're a fool. You're making a mistake.
All right, well, it's delicious. I'm excited to try it for the first time and try it together, and maybe get some at Huertas soon.
Well, let me get out of your way.
It's nice to meet you, Steve.
Nice to meet you, Jonah.
All right.